Coach, to what do you attribute your team's deficiency on defending those corner kicks?
Yeah, it's something that we have to continue to work on. You know, obviously the makeup of our team from a physical profile standpoint means that it's an area where on some nights we're gonna be really challenged. You know, we don't have a team full of guys that are 6'2", 6'3", right down the line. That's just reality. So we have to continue to find the right ways to work at that part of the game. We have to continue to be smart and creative with how we set ourselves up. And so it's frustrating, you know, play a big cup game against your big rival, and to give away three very similar set piece goals is disappointing.
Next to Sanjay.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, just going off of that, like, there's obviously a lot that happened in the game besides the set pieces. So, as a manager, whether it's a game like this, whether it's we talked a lot about the Charlotte game earlier in the season, when there's a lot of good things that happen in the game, especially after they started strong, but it seemed like you guys grew into the game in the first half and did a lot of good things. Like, how do you manage the momentum and the emotions and the psyche of the group after a game like this, especially a derby game? Thanks.
How do you manage it like now?
Yeah, like in spite of losing the game the way you just did with those set pieces, but also seeing positive things.
Sure.
Things going.
Yeah, it's finding a balance of being honest and honest with each other, all of us together, but also making sure that they see the things that are going in a good direction. And so it's a dual track, you know, where we're trying to accelerate things as fast as we can. We're trying to push every single individual. We're trying to push the group. We're trying to raise the bar for every single guy in terms of what it means to play and compete at as the level goes up and as the games get better and as games get harder and as opponents get better. And so we look with a real close eye to all of the details and all of the things that can make this all get better even faster. But again, part of that is making sure that they feel and understand the things that are going in a good direction. And so it's a balance every single day.
Next to Gary.
Hey, Michael. I'm just curious. After the second set piece goal, was there any thought about switching up the defense, like bringing in Parker, something able to calm down the defense where the game was still winnable, or did you just wanted to go from there so you can be able to get your team back in the game, knowing that you're able to get one goal? And I was just curious on your thoughts on that matter.
Yeah, Tim had a really good, solid game in Cincinnati. You know, typically you're not going to make substitutions purely for set piece reasons. There would always be I'm sure an example that would uh, fit outside the box. But generally speaking, as you're going through a game and you're trying to figure out the right ways to make subs and the right ways to affect the game, typically you're not making moves with only set pieces in mind. And it was a night where we didn't give up much from the run of play. So that part was was good and very positive. It's a disappointing night for sure, because obviously they went ahead 1-0, and we had a really strong push in the first half. Played quite well, scored a really good goal, had some really good situations and some really good advantages, possibilities to go up 2-1. Couldn't find the right way to make that happen, and then found ourselves down with another set piece. So yeah, it's a frustrating way to lose a big game.
Next, go to Michael.
Coach, the Rebel only got one shot in the second half. I'm just curious, what was the rationale for waiting so long to bring in, Choupo-Moting and Mohamed Sofo, fresh legs, fresh offensive minds? What was the only brought him in with about 12 minutes left in the regulation? You explain that?
Yeah, we brought Mina, Benedetti, and Mosquera on at I believe around 60 or just after. So those are all attacking substitutions. Obviously, yeah, only one shot, but in certain moments, the way that we play and the way that we attack still means that we're getting into the box and getting into really good spots, and then not always getting the shot off. In some cases, that's because we still talk about the idea of trying to get better shots and make bigger chances and not just be happy to get 22, 23, 24 yards from goal and just shoot on sight, because those, yeah, every now and then when you have a good shooter, those can be goals, but generally speaking, we talk about trying to get into the box and make the bigger chances. And so we were still moving up into their end, into their box in some decent ways. So again, we made the first round of subs just after 60 and wanted to give that a little bit of time. And then obviously brought Choupo and Sofo on for the last period.
Next, go to James.
Thanks, Michael. Sort of to go off the back of that, you mentioned the first half, a lot of good things from your team. Game started to open up a little bit after Julian's goal, and you threatened City's back line, threatened their goal many, many times. They really clogged up the middle in the second half, and I know you mentioned trying to carve out, quality shots as opposed to a quantity of shots. What do you think made it so difficult to penetrate maybe the middle of the pitch in the second half and only end up getting to that one shot in the end?
Yeah, when they go ahead at that point, then their idea is going to be that they don't need to press as high or press as aggressively, and with a lead now, they're going to try to be more compact and play in a lower block. And so that gets attributed to game state, right? So if they go ahead in the game, and now there's no real onus on them to come out and be as aggressive, then it puts a bigger challenge on us to be able to play and break down and make chances against a compact lower block. And so they closed down spaces pretty well. They closed down pretty hard, and yeah, we had some promising moments, couldn't quite make enough of them. In other moments, we weren't as sharp as we were in the first half, just in terms of how the ball moved and the right touches and the right passes. So yeah, those are some of the factors.
Next, go to Steve.
How you doing, Michael? Steve from Feels Good FC. I know tonight didn't go exactly how you imagined, but we got 13 goals led, allowed, conceded in the past 4 games. Is there any thought of changing up the defensive style in any way, maybe not going with such a high line? And do you have a message for the fans that came out today?
The goals tonight have nothing to do with a high line. So, you guys have heard me say, we look closely at everything. And absolutely, we're not happy. We're not happy when we lose a big cup game at home. We're not happy to give away 3 goals, but as I mentioned earlier, the way that we were able to push the game in the first half, the way that we were able to go after them and really limit anything the run of play, that part was positive. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and try to make it seem like we're claiming moral victories. Excuse me. No chance. That's what I mean when I say we're working every single day to accelerate the part of now building this team. And you guys have heard me say many times, it's a young team, it's a new team, we're at the beginning of something where we are trying to play a different football than Red Bull has played in the past, and we're doing everything we possibly can to take our ideas and to make them better, to make sure that they can hold up more, they can hold up more consistently, and they can hold up on the hardest nights. And again, we certainly apologize to our fans for losing a big derby cup game, but every single guy left everything they had on the field, and we're going to continue to work until we can give them the team that they won, and they can be really proud of.
Everyone, we have time for 2 more questions with Coach. First, go to Sean, and then we'll finish up with George. Sean, you have the floor.
Hi, Michael. You mentioned the height disadvantage against NYCFC. Whether it's them or another opponent, what can you do with a team that possesses a disadvantage when it comes to height, when it comes to set pieces? Like, what kind of ways can you compensate for that?
Yeah, there would be a lot of different things. So early in the season, we left players up, even on defensive corners, to force the opponent to leave certain players back, which allowed them to come with less into the box. You can obviously always play around between, how you want to find a balance between man marking and zone. You can give away less corners. There's certainly things that we'll continue to look at, and then ultimately, like anything in the game, it's still down to then in any given situation, we have our ideas, we have the way that we want to handle something, and the other team has theirs, and who on the night, which team is able to find an edge.
And we'll finish up with George.
Coach George for the Change FC. I need to ask, I asked you a week ago or so about the meat and potatoes of the schedule coming and how you were going to rotate everything. Now that this tournament ended, how do you go about just trying to focus in on making sure that you don't fall too far back and are still in the playoff hunt, especially after last season?
Yeah, look, it's early, things are really tight. So we're taking one day, one game at a time. We put a team on the field tonight to try to go after the game and do everything that we could to advance to the next round. And as the dust settles, we'll get back to work tomorrow morning and figure out where we are, how guys are feeling. Obviously, it has been a busy stretch. And then we will put a team on the field on Saturday night that is ready to do everything possible to win an important home game against Dallas. And obviously, we'll get a little bit of a breather next week in terms of, with no midweek game, the chance to have a normal week of training and then get ready for, I believe, Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. My head's spinning, but I believe Chicago. And again, that part of using good training days, trying to push every single individual along, trying to take the collective part of the football that we play and our package of ideas and make it all better.